Mr. Thelmore Linguina, former Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Mr. U.D.Perera, former MP, Ms. Liz Beattie, former MP, Mr. Kazyad Namdarian, Executive Officer, Northeast Asia Division of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Mr. Balakrishnan Naik, former Honorary Consul of Sri Lanka, Mr. Sanjeeva Jayadilaka, Manager of Sri Lankan Airlines, Ms. Chamariam Atapattu, Captain of the Sri Lankan cricket team, Kaushalya Waghela, member from the Metropolitan Region, Mr. Kapila Fonseca, Consulate General of Sri Lanka, Ms. Onelia Kandage, representing the Sri Lankan Sinhala community in Victoria, Varun Anush Sujandan, representing the Sri Lankan Tamil community here in Victoria, Zaki Schultz, representing the Sri Lankan Muslim community in Victoria, and Alan Fleming, representing the Sri Lankan Burgher community in Victoria.
We ask you to forgive us for these times. On this day, we commit ourselves to the task of ushering in an era when goodwill shall live in the hearts of a free people and justice shall be the light to guide our feet. Make us, Lord, a generous people, a holy and just nation, a people set aside to love you and learn to hold fast to whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, excellent and praiseworthy, for the sake of the people of Sri Lanka and the peoples and nations of this world. Our land is in need of your protection. Our leaders are in need of your wisdom and guidance. Our people are in need of your loving care. Our industry and business are in need of your blessing. Please come now by your Spirit, breathe new life into the citizens of Sri Lanka, and may justice flow like rivers and righteousness like a never-failing stream, until the whole of our country is covered with your glory, as the waters cover the sea. We ask all this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
Parasugamadagatam Shobidam Modanena Aruna Guzmamalam Pyalalambo Danandam Mamadudayanatam Sri Ganesham Namami. மதிப்பிற்குரிய இலங்கையின் மெல்போர்ன் ஆஸ்திரேலியாவில் கான்சுலேட் ஜெனரல் அவர்களுக்கும் மற்றும் இங்கு வந்திருக்கின்ற பெரியோர்கள் அத்தனை பேரும் என்னுடைய அன்பையும் வணக்கத்தையும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். On this day in 1948, the state in the Indian Ocean declared its sovereignty from Great Britain. Today, as we celebrate this special occasion, we collectively known as Sinhala, Tamil, Muslims, Malay and Burghers as one and all Sri Lankans who is sharing this hard-won Independence Day wholeheartedly. As per a Tamil poet saying, "Petta Thayum, Piranda Nal Naadum, Nattava Vaadilum Nanisivandhanave," என்கிறார். It means the mother who brought you and to this earth and the soil you were where has no equal to any means we love Sri Lanka. Should comprehensively be what all religious texts proclaim, that is pure love, compassion to all living creatures and equality.
The most gracious, the most merciful, I invoke the blessings of God, Allah Almighty, upon the Prophet and his companions and all those who have gathered here. It is extremely pleasant opportunity for all of us to gather here to celebrate the 72nd Independence Day of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has been under the colonial rule for centuries, and our forefathers have got together and fought tooth and nail to gain the independence without any feeling of difference between them as Muslim, Sinhalese, Buddhist, Christians or others. We have to continue in this tradition. Let us stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and promote peace and cohesion in Sri Lanka, in future Sri Lanka. We have learned a lot. We have lost a lot. From the loss, we have learned that being united and forgiving and accommodating each other in this little island is the only way for progress in the future. I invoke the blessings of God to Sri Lanka, its people, including
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ 7 වෙනි දවස් දින සැමරීම වෙනුවෙන් අද දින පවත්වන ලබන උත්සවයට සහභාගී වී සිටින ගෞරවනීය මහා සංඝරත්නය ඇතුළු පූජ්‍යතුමන්ලා ආරාධනා සිංහල ධර්ම මුස්ලිම් බර්ගමැලේ ශ්‍රී ලාංකික ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට මායි ගෞරවයෙන් පිළිගන්නවා. මේ අවස්ථාවේ ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට මගේ ස්පතන් එක්කරමින් අසිරිමත් නිදහස් සමරවලට අතිදිනට ආරාධනා කරමි. මෙතන සිට මගේ කතාව ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් සිදු කිරීමට මගේ කාර්මික අවසරය ලැබී සිටිනවා. ස්තුතියි. Venerable Mahasangha and members of the clergy, Honorable Body Lectures, Member of Parliament for Melbourne, Honorable Bernie Fee, Member of Parliament for Western Metropolitan Region, Honorable Kaushal Devagaya, Member of Victorian Parliament, Professor David Fetzer, former Governor of Victoria, Mr. Thelmore and former Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Mr. U.D.Perera, former Member of Victorian Parliament, Mr. Liz Beattie, former Member of Victorian Parliament, Councillors, Dean and the members of the Council, distinguished invitees, children, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I warmly welcome you all to this ceremony to mark the 72nd anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. 72 years have passed since Sri Lanka gained independence. In other words, almost an entire lifetime has passed. I believe we, the Sri Lankans, need to reflect upon the past 72 years seriously. For it was after a long loss of freedom and dignity that we gained independence in 1948. For it was after generations of servitude, enslavement, economic deprivation, cultural devastation and social repression that
there are so many guests here tonight, and I think as acknowledged across the political spectrum, I'd like to begin by thanking again the Sri Lankan community for the hospitality this evening. I'd like to thank very much Kapila Fonseca, the Consul General of Sri Lanka, U.D.Perera. We have several members of Parliament present and past, and I think that that is a great credit to the affection that the Sri Lankan community holds. So current members of Parliament, Bernie Finn and Kaushal Devagaya, and we have so many past members of Parliament here. I'm very pleased to be in the company of Liz Beattie. Of course, Tomo Lingwilla, the previous Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. And the very close to my heart and person with whom I have great affection, U.D.Perera, who was the previous member for Cranbourne before me and served our community with great care and strategic insight. So I'm very grateful to be in the company of current members of Parliament, but also previous members of Parliament. I'm also very conscious we have another level of government here being represented by Bill Bennett, a councillor for the City of Whitehorse. I would of course like to pay my respects to David D'Cresta, a person of great importance to the Sri Lankan diaspora community and somebody who has served the Victorian and Australian community in his incredible gifts to us. So I thank you for being here with us tonight. We have other distinguished guests, Diana Pereira, Keishi Tilak Ramesh, Professor Linda Christensen, our incredibly distinguished VCE high achievers. I'm very pleased to be in your company, and I'll have a couple of very short comments to make about the importance of our VCE high achievers and the young people who are here with us this evening. I'd also like to acknowledge Keisha Tilak Ramesh, our Youth Commissioner from the Victorian Multicultural Commission. I have spent a little bit of time this evening in the company of so many distinguished members of our consular corps. You're sparkling conversationalists, and I'm very grateful that you are all here this evening also sharing with us your insights. I am representing the Honourable Richard Wynne, who sends his greetings, and I send the greetings of the Victorian Government to the Sri Lankan community as we join here together, and it is of course my great pleasure to share in this amazing celebration of independence. I do want to acknowledge though with some sadness that it's been a very difficult few months for us, and I'd like to acknowledge this for so many of our fellow Victorians. This has been of course a difficult time. We're still very conscious of the effect of the coronavirus, and our thoughts are very much with the victims of our bushfire crisis. I would like to also acknowledge that there has been some amazing work done by the Sri Lankan diaspora community here, donating goods and money, very quickly turning their hand to supporting other Victorians at a time of great need. And to hear that the Sri Lankan community shared their extraordinary gifts, and the Sri Lankan government has in turn sent across tea to Victoria to be used for the people who are recovering from the bushfire. I think it is a great credit to the incredible friendship that's held between our two communities, the Sri Lankan community and the Victorian and Australian community here. I do want to, though, just for a moment, provide some reassurance that the government, and especially with the coronavirus, the Department of Health and Human Services is working very hard to make sure that we are providing the best community advice to keep everyone safe. I will implore you all to make sure that you go and get the right and accurate information so that you can be aware the best way we can all work together to look after each other. And I'm very conscious that there is information available in other languages. It's very important that the information we have is accurate. So I would like to acknowledge those difficulties that the Victorian community is facing. And of course we are facing together. We are united in facing together. And what a beautiful way for us to reflect, no better way than to have our faith leaders. And so to our faith leaders as well, I thank you for your insights, the generosity that you have provided in providing us with prayers, thoughts and reflection this evening. So we have this incredibly important Sri Lankan organisations who are here this evening. Like so many people, I have fallen in love with Sri Lanka. And what probably compelled me to first visit Sri Lanka was the natural beauty. What then led me to return to Sri Lanka was the warmth of the hospitality, of course beginning to understand the many gifts that Sri Lanka gives to not just Australia but to the world, the gifts of insights, the gifts of science, amazing literature. And this evening I'd like to also acknowledge that we were joined and greeted with what I think of as typical Sri Lankan hospitality. I'd like to acknowledge the many people who are volunteers this evening, the young and the old, and those of us who are in the middle. But I would like to thank you all for the way that we were greeted this evening and what I think of as that great gift of Sri Lankan hospitality. And so it is appropriate for me to thank the organising committees, but so many people have gone in to make these Independence Day celebrations so special, so thank you very much. The dancers, the musicians, our young people are the best of us, and we are seeing the best of Sri Lanka, the best of Victoria, all here together in Box Hill this evening. Now, the work of so many of you does enable the sharing of Sri Lankan culture, and it does provide Victorians with a sense of belonging and connection. And as was commented, Cranbourne is home to a significant Sri Lankan community, diaspora community. I would observe that in talking to the mothers and fathers, the grandparents and aunties and uncles of our young people in Cranbourne, conversations very quickly turn to education. And I think it is that focus on the future, the focus on our young people, making sure that everyone has access to the best opportunities, is one of the reasons why we enjoy so much having such a strong and vibrant Sri Lankan community in Victoria. And I think it was recognised earlier that the Sri Lankan community is such a strong and cohesive community, and the gifts that have been given to this community are something that we are all grateful for. So I would like to pass on those words of appreciation. So Australia boasts one of the largest Sri Lankan diasporas in the world, and we are lucky you have all made the right choice. The majority are in Victoria. So today we have 58,000 Victorians who identify as having Sri Lankan heritage or ancestry, and 10,000 Sri Lankan students have selected Victoria as their education destination. And that doesn't surprise me at all. As I said, that optimism of the Sri Lankan community, that quick turn of conversation to education and the brightness of the future. It doesn't surprise me at all that we have so many young Sri Lankans who are choosing to make Victoria home. So we have some 2019 VCE students here who are displaying excellence. From a personal note, I'd like to say I'm the mother of a young woman. My youngest daughter finished her VCE last year, and I'd like to pay credit to all of you. You have worked incredibly hard to achieve the results you have. I'd also like to pay credit to the families of the VCE students. As a mother, somebody recently...
known to many of you, was supposed to be here this evening to speak, and under normal circumstances he wouldn't have missed this for all the money in the world, because he is a very proud Sri Lankan. His connections with Sri Lanka are very strong and are on display every day for those of us who work with him in the pub. Craig this week has been sitting by his mother's bedside, and unfortunately, very sadly, this afternoon she passed away. So Craig, I spoke to Craig yesterday, and he asked me to pass on his very warm wishes to you all for a great celebration, but unfortunately, for obvious reasons, he won't be joining you this year, but I've no doubt he will look forward to rejoining you again next year. So you've got me instead. I am here to represent Michael O'Brien, the leader of the Liberal Party in Victoria, and Michael sends his very warmest regards. He has a lot of friends in the Sri Lankan community, as indeed we all do, and he passes on his very warmest regards and best wishes for this wonderful 72nd Independence Day festivity. You know, I was thinking, coming out here tonight or today, and it does take a little bit longer than it should to take out here because we don't have the tunnel between the east and west. But anyway, let's not get started on that because we could be here all night. I was thinking about some of the commonality that Australia has with Sri Lanka, some of the great things that link us as nations. And the first thing, of course, that jumped to my mind was cricket. And, you know, if there's one thing that will bind nations, it's sport, and in these particular instances, it is most certainly cricket. I remember many years ago, a friend of mine went to Sri Lanka for a holiday, and I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of going to Sri Lanka for a holiday. This is a long time ago, I actually went. And she came back and she said, that is the best place I've been to. I'm going back next year. So there we have Sri Lanka and Australia, great places to visit. We have tourism as a great connect between the two of us. But the one thing, I suppose more than any other, that we have is our love of freedom. Because Australians have fought for freedom over many, many years, as indeed have Sri Lankans. And that is something, a bond which cements us together like no other. It makes us brothers and sisters in the family of man. The belief, the commitment, the desire for freedom. That is something that we as Australians and as Sri Lankans, we have in common, we share, and we are prepared to fight for. This is a wonderful celebration of a wonderful nation. Sri Lanka, over 72 years, has shown the world that size sometimes doesn't matter all that much at all. That such a relatively small nation in size can have such a powerful, such a strong impact on the world, speaks wonders for Sri Lanka and the people of Sri Lanka. This is a celebration of Sri Lanka, but it's also a celebration of the Sri Lankan contribution to Australia, because there is no doubt that the Sri Lankan people that have come to this nation have made Australia, have made Victoria a better place. For that, we celebrate today, and we also say thank you very much for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here tonight. I thank you for your hospitality. I thank you for your entertainment, particularly the energetic ones. They've got a little bit on me, I've got to say. But I thank you very, very much for all that. I wish you a very, very happy night. God bless Sri Lanka and God bless Australia.
To present the next award, we have our Consul General, Kapila Fonseca. For the next award, I welcome Professor David U.D.Perera to come to the stage. To present the next award, we welcome Professor Sujiva Sethunga from RMIT University. If I can please invite Professor U.D.Perera from Monash University University to come forward to present this next award. For this next award, we welcome Professor U.D.Perera, a very proud dad right now. For this next award, I welcome Liz Beattie. I welcome Dr. U.D.Perera from Deakin University, U.D.Perera from Deakin University to come forward. Now we've had some top scorers for Sinhala and the Tamil languages. Liz, you will be presenting this next award. The high scorer for Sinhala is Dona Bhavanti Idusha Vijay Singh. Kushal, I welcome you. Sorry, Kapila, to welcome you to present this award. And the top scorer for the Tamil language, I welcome Ms. Marion Lau, Deputy Chairperson, Ethnic Communities Council of Victoria, to present. All right, I understand that Marion has had to depart. We welcome Mr. David De Kretzer to come forward again to present the award for the top scorer for the Tamil language. And that top scorer is Priyanka Gengasude. And if we can get all the high achievers to stand on stage, Kapila, you and David could join them for this photo. My apologies, I didn't realise our award presenters were just behind our recipients. Please come forward. Pauline Duncan, feel free to join in. Thank you all, and please give another round of applause for our VC 2019 College Juniors and their parents.
It was symbolical for how truly different religions coexist in Sri Lanka and how important in their blessings for the country and its people. We are extremely grateful to the distinguished dignitaries, those who accepted our invitation and been present here tonight in spite of their busy schedules. Honourable Pauline Richards and Honourable Bernie Finn, thank you for representing the State Government of Victoria and the opposition. We highly value your presence here today. And I would also like to convey our condolences on the passing away of the beloved mother of Honourable Craig Ondaji, who was supposed to be here tonight. A very special thank to Professor Dick Crester, former Governor of Victoria. Sir, thank you for gracing this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you witnessed a number of elegant Sri Lankan cultural performances. We are thankful to the dance groups of Amma Dance Academy, Rangana and U.D.Perera Dance Group, Pravaha Dancing Foundation, Vishwa Rangayatanaya and Thala Asapur for adding vibrant colours to this event. you Mrs. Sirimawa U.D.Perera and Mr. Kumar U.D.Perera for your guidance in organizing the cultural segment. Our thank goes to Mrs. Vinitha Vijayaratne for making arrangements for chanting of Jayamangala Gata. Let me extend sincere thanks to our wonderful compeer, Sachin Fernandez. Sach, once again, you have guided this program through flawless. Many thanks. I also thank Mr. Vijay Karunasena, Mr. Frank Rajakulendran and Dr. Fahmi Hanifa for their delivering the introductory remarks in Sinhala, Tamil and English respectively. I wish to thank Mr. Thananthan Sujanthan and Mr. Harvey Fernandez for reading the Independence Day message of the President of Sri Lanka in Tamil and English. Thank you Mr. Chandrasiri Hettiarachige of Blue Sky Caravan for contributing, continuously sponsoring VCE awards by meeting all the expenses. I also thank both print and electronic Sri Lankan media community in Melbourne for wider publicity given for the event. Thank you Mr. Rashan Samsel for making the elegant floral arrangements of the event. Our sincere thanks goes to the Committee for Sri Lanka for greeting and ushering the guests with beautiful young participants of Miss Sri Lanka pageant. Thank you Savindi for your assistance. We are most grateful to all the sponsors for their valuable contributions in the souvenir of this event. I should also thank Mr. Vimukti Manigaratne for excellent designing, and I should also thank Mr. David Jatilaka and Mr. Jit Abeyavardhana of Wigmark for compiling and printing the attractive souvenir free of charge. Many thanks. Thank you Mr. Dasun Ranasinghe for being our multimedia operator for the event. Thank you for designing all the stage backgrounds as well. Mr. Johan Jayasinghe and Mr. Lahiru Silva are also assisting us with photography, and Mr. Bandhu Disanayakar, our former honorary consul, generously provided the video coverage of the ceremony. Thank you Johan, Lahiru and Bandhu for your valuable contribution. Dear volunteer students, your valuable contribution in organizing this event is highly appreciated. Thank you Ashika, Buddhini, Isurika, Nayani, Nadisha, Shenal, Hasita and Ash. Mr. Deshapriya Paranavithana and Mr. Ashan Manyarachi, our caterers, thank you very much for providing delicious refreshments tonight. Our thanks also go to all boys associations of Sri Lanka German Technical Training Institute for providing tea, coffee, and CGTTI Alumni Global Inc. for providing bottled water for the attendees at the event. Also, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Mrs. Janaki Rajaguru for providing transport for the religious dignitaries and to Mr. Mohan Perera of Transco Cargo for assisting us in many logistical arrangements of the event. Our appreciation also extends to officials of the Box Hill City Council for providing the venue for the event and the excellent support extended. Thank you Mr. Steve Hobbins for your excellently synchronized performance for sounds and lighting arrangements. I also like to thank the staff of the Consulate General of Sri Lanka in Melbourne for their invaluable support given to make this event a success. Last but not the least, all the attendees of today's event. Thank you all for taking your time to come to Box Hill Town Hall and participating in the celebration of 72nd anniversary of Independence of Sri Lanka. Without you, there is no celebration. So, once again, thank you so much for your attendance and support extended to make this event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana, and Kapila and your entire team for putting together a fantastic event. I think tonight represents a solidarity in our Sri Lankan community. We've witnessed the creative and academic talents of Sri Lankans in Victoria. Well, that is all for tonight, ladies and gents. Please join us for refreshments and drive home safe. Take care and see you next year.